Alright, Sunnylife ND filters for the Mavic Air. Pick these up because for shooting video you definitely need ND filters if you've got bright light of any kind. Product seems to be good. They all came, I've weighed them, you can see the pictures of the weights and stuff. They're all quite congruent. I weighed them in grains because they're such a small object. Grams wouldn't have been applicable. My scale wouldn't have been fine enough. So it comes with ND 8, 16, 32, and 4. Also comes with a CPL, a circular polarized lens, and an MCUV. I believe that stands for multi-coat UV. Nice thing is you can see all of the readings on there. I don't know if the camera can focus. You can see it through the little slots if you line them up correctly. That's nice for being able to see which lens you want for when. So I thought I'd show how they go on to the Mavic Air. So just at random I'll choose the come on camera, come on. So at random I chose the ND4 filter. You can see the quality is fairly good. They have a grip ring on the outside. This is the part that faces the outside. This is of course the inside. So let's throw one on. You can see I've got my Mavic Air here. The first thing to do is to remove, of course, your gimbal protection cover. Then on the camera itself there's a ring that comes that way. So you just take that ring, you're just going to unscrew it. Trying to be very gentle with the gimbal. You don't want to compress any of the things in there. So this is a ring without glass. There's no glass in there. That's just a protection ring of some sort. So take that off, and then the Sunnylife ND filter has that grippy ring on the outside. That's going to stay to the outside. Then you're just going to take that, kind of get it on there as far as you can, and oh, the threads are nice. They just go right on. Some of these have problems when you first start the threading. It cross threads or it gets weird. So the Mavic Air has good threads to start with, but also the threads on the Sunnylife ND filter seem quite good, and they are easy. Just spins on just like that. So you want to get it on there just kind of finger tight, not too tight so that you have to bend the gimbal to get it off, but not so loose that could possibly vibrate and come off. So there it is installed. You can see it sits on there quite nicely. It does stick out a bit further than the original ring, and I'll have to weigh the original ring to see what the weight of that is as well in comparison to these. So I'll show you that here. The weight differential between the original ring that was on the Mavic Air lens, just to protect the threads more than anything I would think. Come on, focus. The difference in weight between that and say one of the filters. So I've got a scale here that is in grains. It's much more finite than a scale that would be in grams, which is what I typically use. So here's the original ring that was on there. Let's get in the center. And we're looking at six grains, okay? So as you saw in the photos earlier, maybe the ND filters from Sunnylife are about 15.4, so they're over double the weight, and that of course is due to increased size for one, but also these have glass in them, so they're bound to be heavier. However, the Mavic seems to be able to handle that quite well. The gimbal has no issues, it seems, carrying that load. So all of the weights of these seem to be fairly congruent. We have 15.3, 15.0, 15.6, 15.8, 15.3, I'll take the one off the air that's on there, and 15.4. So you can see they're all right in that same range, very, very close. Keep in mind this is in grains, not grams, and so 0.1 grains is quite a minute measurement of weight. And so now that it's installed, let's go out and get some video is the primary thing for this. The other thing you can use these for, of course, is a little bit longer exposures on your pictures. So if you put on the, say, the ND32, that would allow you to extend the time of your photos. So you could take a longer exposure, maybe capture some water movement or traffic movement or something like that. So there it is installed. Let's get fired up here and take it for a spin and see how it works. Alright, we're down at the beach here. Pretty bright sunny day. I've got an excavator that just fired up right behind me, so hopefully that's not too noisy. I put on the ND32 filter, which should be what's the biggest we've got for this series with the Sunnylife. So we're going to put that on and see how that works. One check with that is when you turn on the aircraft, which I'm about to do, you'll see it do a gimbal check, and if the filter or the gimbal or anything has a problem, you'll get a notification on your screen. So that's the first indication that these are going to be okay to fly with. So here, we'll turn it on. Here it comes, and you'll see the gimbal. There's the gimbal calibration. Flips up and flips back to forward. Gimbal calibration is complete. Just going to set that down. Turn on the controller, and they'll link together. So what I'll do here is I'll do a quick few seconds just holding the aircraft. So you can see the 32 filter. I film typically at 30 frames a second. That's what YouTube likes. And so with that, I use a shutter speed of 1/60th of a second. So I'll leave it at those settings, 30 frames a second and 1/60th of a second. And we will show you the difference between ND32 all the way down to ND4, I think is our lowest. 4 or 6. ND4. So ND4, ND8, ND16, and ND32. So this first video will be with, obviously, ND32. I also use the zebra stripes, and that indicates to me whether or not an area of the photo is going to be blown out, where it's too light or whatever. So I have no zebra stripes right now. Maybe I'll screenshot that. You can see I'll aim it out towards the ocean a little bit, and you can see my screen here. There we go. So here's a quick video, not a flight, but just a quick video of what it looks like with the ND32 filter on there. It's quite good. The quality of these lenses are pretty good, actually, I think. I've flown with them quite a bit. I'll put up some sample footage afterwards, and yeah, they hold their own, so I'm fairly impressed with them. Okay, so that's the ND32. Now I'll take this off and we can jump to the ND16 at the same camera settings. Okay, so this is with the ND16 filter on, and right away I can see there's a lot of zebra stripes in the sky. That's our brightest point here. So I'll take a similar shot to what I did earlier. I think it was about there, and you can see right here that I'm getting some zebra stripes on my. And the same brief video, you'll see here that it's quite a bit brighter. So starting there, and we'll just pan around like we did before with the 32. So this is the ND16. Not too bad. Maybe a little blown out here and there. You may still be able to get that image information back. But for my liking, there's quite a few zebra stripes, which indicates it's probably too bright. Okay, and we'll drop down to the ND8 now, and you can see that. I don't think I'll even bother with the ND4 because it'll be completely blown out. Alright, here we are again with the ND8 filter. There's a lot of zebra stripes now. Everything's kind of getting blown out here. Trying to hold that 30 frames a second with 1/60th of a second shutter speed. So I'll take the photo again down the beach, and you can see that. Okay, and then we'll do the short video with the ND8 filter on. You'll see how much brighter it is on ND8 here. So almost the same video as earlier with the 16 and 32. This is the ND8, and you can see it's quite bright, quite blown out. So there it is. You can see it's quite useful to have these ND filters if you want to maintain a specific shutter speed for your frame rate. So there you go. These Sunnylife ND filters seem to be pretty good. I'm enjoying them. I'll put up some sample footage for you here and you can see what I can do with it. And I'm no expert by any stretch, but this is definitely something you should add to your repertoire if you don't already have some ND filters. And for the price, these are pretty good. Cheers.